Who are you?
I'm Spencer Gurley, and this is my breakdown of the Apple TV Plus series Severance. So before we dive in, first I just want to say that I was definitely inspired by this show, and it's one of those ones that is super binge-worthy because of the time and effort that went into it. You can just tell when you watch this show. And that's why this show is probably one of the best things that I've seen this past year. And here's why.
Let's get this party started.
So in this series, Jessica Lee Gagné uses the Panavision C series lenses, and she uses the spherical and anamorphic lenses. And she mentioned that these gave her awesome dynamic range and ability to shoot wide and macro, and gave them the ability to also use that camera trickery that we see throughout the film. Match that with the Sony Alexa, and pretty impressive stuff, honestly. So probably one of my favorite things about this series when it comes to the cinematography side is the way that they light everything. When you have the people out and about, Mark S, for example, when he's out and he's in his Audi form and his day-to-day self, he really is only lit by practicals, and you see this very clearly when he's in his house. You've got the lamp that's lighting him, maybe his fish tank, maybe just the kitchen lights that he turns on. So very minimal lighting, which makes it super interesting and almost like melancholy, and it adds to the real vibe and feel of what it's like for these people when they're not at work. Then on the flip side, you look at when they're in Lumen working, and there's, very even lighting. You've got lots of bright lights, but they somehow always manage to keep it super interesting, and the lighting isn't flat. So looking at the shots in this series, I love the really wide angles, and then you also have the macro close-ups.
LAR, please step forward.
This keeps it super interesting for the viewer, and really, I think they used probably more anamorphic lenses than they did spherical, but you've got that really wide view, and you can look sometimes on the edges of the frame. It's almost distorted or blurred a little bit, which adds to that mysterious feel for this show. Also, another thing, looking at their use of camera movement, I can't go without mentioning the dolly zoom that happens when the employees are going down and up the elevator. And I think it's just super effective and was a really good choice when it came to that transition, because it really looks like they are switching from one person to another when you implement that dolly zoom. Let's look at the sound. You've got kind of this spooky vibe. There's piano that plays throughout the series. You have this awesome, weird warping, kind of switching transition sound. You also have dings of the elevator. You just have things that really stand out and are simple yet super effective. Looking at editing, I love how honestly each episode builds off of one another, and they do that in a very intentional way. Specifically in episode 9, when you see these cool transitions when the employees at Lumen are changing from innies to outies. And so there's this cool transition where you see their face and it kind of glitches and makes it really interesting and compelling to watch, just that switch from one part of their brain to another part of their brain. A fun fact that I wanted to mention to finish off this video, I actually saw it, someone put it in one of the comments from another Severance review video that I was watching, and that person mentioned that when you look at the keyboard of the macro data refinement people that are working in there, they have the keyboard and there's no escape key on the keyboard, representing that there is no escape from that place. And so I thought that was a cool Easter egg to throw in there. So next time you guys watch Severance, or even if you haven't seen it yet, watch out for that one. I know there's a ton more in there, but I just wanted to put this video out here and talk about some of the things that I noticed in the show that really inspired me and honestly made me want to make better content, better films. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I could tell that a lot of time and effort went into this.
Just a couple things here.
Why are you standing weird? Stand normal.
I'm standing great.
So that's it for my thoughts on Severance. I hope that you guys take the time to watch this show. I'm actually watching through it a second time just because it was that good for me. So I hope you guys enjoy, and remember to please like and subscribe.